banner over 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle, or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans living today. These words are inscribed on the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and people they never met. Those words apply equally to many of our World War II, Vietnam War, Gulf War, and Operation Enduring Freedom veterans as well. They apply to today's active duty service members, tomorrow's veterans, who are helping to maintain peace throughout the world. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of our American veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and home of the brave. To honor America, please stand for the presentation of colors by the Civil Air Patrol United States Air Force Auxiliary, including Cadet First Lieutenant Jaden Hobbs, Cadet Second Lieutenant Abigail Harris, Cadet Airman Aiden Mickna, and Cadet Senior Airman Emmanuel Beauchamp, under the command of Major Jared Horn. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, the national anthem performed by the CJHS Band under the direction of Mr. Scott Schneider, and the posting of the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you, Civil Air Patrol and band, for helping us honor our country. Next, Ms. Sharon Clark will read the poem, The Missing Man's Table. Following the reading, please stand as Mr. William Russell plays taps.
The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of the motives when answering the call to duty. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the life of each of our fallen comrades and the loved ones and friends of these comrades who keep the faith. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, a symbol of our continued determination to remember our fallen comrades. A slice of lemon on the bread plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those who will never return. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by the family of those who have sacrificed it all. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country. The glass is inverted because they cannot toast with us at this time. The chair is empty because they are no longer with us. God bless our soldiers.
Thank you, Ms. Clark and Mr. Russell, for helping us to remember and honor our fallen soldiers. For the past 5 years, Southwest Missouri Bank has sponsored our Veterans Day Assembly. Today, as guests arrive, each student presented each veteran in attendance with a special gift sponsored by SMB. Each gift included a commemorative mug and lapel pin, along with a Veterans Day card made by our second grade students, and patriotic pretzels made by Miss Mella's food classes. Additionally, Mike Wiggins of Granny Schaefer's will give every veteran who brings in their mug free coffee for the rest of the year. Finally, any veteran who would like to sign up for a free guided fishing trip on Stockton Lake may do so at the reception, courtesy of Cooper Cook Guide Service. Thank you, Southwest Missouri Bank, for honoring our veterans, and most importantly, thank you, veterans, for your service. It is now time for a CJHS Veterans Day tradition. Miss Mary McClethy will sing God Bless the USA.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my life, thank my God above to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
You may be seated. Thank you, Ms. McQuethy, for your lovely and patriotic performance. Next, we would like to pay tribute to our veterans by making a donation to the Disabled American Veterans, or DAV, in their honor. Our business students have been selling Support Our Troop bracelets throughout the month of November to raise funds for this donation. Here to present this donation are CJHS students Asta Gandhi, Bailey Skelly, Faith Luno, Sloan Eubinger, Hallie Shorter, and Samantha Sims. We are grateful to have Mr. Rob Seltzer and Mr. John Tipton representing the DAV, Department of Missouri, and DAV number 52, Joplin. At this time, in honor of our veterans, we present this donation of $2,000 to DAV. Thank you, Mr. Seltzer and Mr. Tipton, for all you do to support our veterans, and thank you to everyone who purchased a bracelet or made a donation to make this possible. Please welcome our VFW Patriots Pen Essay Contest winner, 8th grader Seth Brown. Seth is son of Jeremy and Teresa Brown and the son of Keith Brown, Debbie Brown, and Kate Gilbert and the late Dennis Gilbert. Keith and Dennis served as Marines and Air Forcemen, respectively. Seth won for his essay in Mr. Whitehead's Social Studies class, which answers the question, how can I be a good American this year? Congratulations, Seth.
My essay is called American at Heart. People every day will say that they are true patriotic citizens, but the only way to see if they are pure at heart is through the display of actions in their daily lives. True Americans will show authentic citizenship through simple daily acts that impact the greater good. They show this through their responsibility, genuine service, and integrity. When I think of a pure American at heart, responsibility always comes to mind. Responsibility could just be as simple as doing your job or acting the way you're supposed to, but it could also be owning up to your actions in life and mistakes. All people need to be responsible in their lives to succeed. When responsibility comes into the picture, you will be honest with not only yourself, but others as well. To be a pure, honest American, your responsibility has to reach out beyond yourself and go to the people around you in acts of genuine service. Although you need to be honest and respectful toward the people around you, serving the people you walk by in the streets every day shows your true dedication to your community and patriotism. Although many think that service is beneath them, In reality, it is a gracious act of giving your time and efforts to help the people around you. Real Americans demonstrate and display genuine service through authentic integrity. Integrity is the act of doing the right action even when no one's watching. In today's social media world, far too many people will post about doing the right thing solely to get likes, views, and comments. These people have no sense of responsibility or integrity in their actions. Real Americans will do the right thing even when the camera is not rolling. American citizens are those who take ownership and responsibility for their actions, showing the integrity that lies beneath. Being American means putting others before yourself. The foundation on which America was founded for those who wanted freedom not just for them, but for their children. People put their lives on the line daily for the common good and might not even get a thank you for it. Kamala Harris once said, "The American dream belongs to all of us." And I think that all we have to do to achieve it is have a patriotic heart by being a responsible citizen who serves with integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. This year, we also have a high school essay winner in the VFW Voice of Democracy contest. Please welcome 9th grader Kaden Alford. Cade is the son of Shane and Christina Alford and the grandson of Scott and Jan Woody and Sue Haas. Scott served in the Navy. Cade won his essay for addressing the prompt, "America, where do we go from here?" Congratulations, Cade.
America, moving forward. Where should we go from here? This is the question millions of Americans ask themselves on a daily basis. There is one right answer: forward. Even in the most heated debates, people are trying to find the best and most efficient way to improve this great country of ours. It is my firm belief that we can achieve this through respectful and thoughtful deliberation. Unfortunately, thoughtful disagreement has given way to knee-jerk virtue signaling that does little to advance the cause of liberty. The best path forward to secure liberty for every American is a return to our fundamental values: individual accountability, civil discourse, and personal morality. Both individual and governmental accountability is all but non-existent in today's popular culture. Yes, even in our government, there's corruption. Who is being held But what is being done about it? Who is being held accountable? No, that's it. I mean, really, do you see any political figures get in trouble anymore? No, that's the problem. Nothing happens to corrupt few that don't work towards improving our nation. We need an objective media to ensure that the checks and balances of our government are being upheld. Take, for example, withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. There was over 2 decades of work put in by our service members, and all that work was thrown away the moment the current administration gave their orders. Yet, no one takes responsibility for the debacle. I'm hopeful that citizens will seek information from many outlets and reassert their duty to hold the government accountable to the people and use this knowledge in civil discourse. This civil discourse, however, seems to be a thing of the past. Gone are the days of polite disagreement, the days where you could turn on your television on a Sunday morning and watch civil discourse take place. Nowadays, all you get are shouting matches among the tree huggers and the questionable oil magnates. We need to return to that respect for dissonant voices that once blessed America. People need to recognize that, at the end of the day, we're all human, regardless of our political views. Another crucial fundamental value gone with the wind is personal morality. We started off this century with meaningless domestic terrorism. This does not fare well for the rest of the century, and something needs to be done to increase the void of morality plaguing our nation, particularly its youth. There are not enough celebrity role models in the world to influence our newer generations. Role in politics should also be more prevalent. Leaders should be more concerned with public welfare than lining their own pockets. With the way we're going, America is on a collision course of disaster, but through these fundamental values, we can improve our country tenfold. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. In recognition of all of our honored guests and in honor of each branch of the armed services, the CJHS Band, under the direction of Mr. Scott Snyder, will now perform the Salute to Services Armed Forces medley. We ask that each veteran that is able stand to be recognized during the duration of their service song. A side presentation will also be displayed to represent each branch through its service song. Mr. Snyder. Mr. Schneider and May. We are honored to have Mr. Gale West as our keynote speaker today. Mr. West is a longtime resident of the area. He graduated from Joplin High School and signed with the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team prior to enlisting for service in the Air Force during the Vietnam War. He was eager to serve his country and considers it one of his best decisions he ever made. Following his military career, Mr. West and his wife Patricia settled in Seneca, Missouri, raising two children, Dr. Jason West and Dr. Melissa Massey. Currently, Mr. West operates a Black Angus beef cattle farm. Thank you for your service, Mr. West, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Let me get this where you can hear me. Hope you can. You know, when they played those branch songs, they did a very fine job. And as the band played them, each one of the branches, as the songs came forth, can cause one to be overcome with goosebumps. As each person stood, as they played their song. Excuse me. You can see the patriotism and pride in their stature, even for those who might have struggled to stand or needed help from a friend. When it comes to our nation and what it means to have played a part in the freedom we enjoy, the veteran is never off duty. They are a constant reminder of those who have sacrificed and served our country so we could be and remain free. Now, I have Veterans Day is very special to me, and I went to a program this morning in the old show. My great-granddaughter is in the first grade. She knows me as Pawpaw, and she also has a grandma and a grandpa who are retired from the military. And she drew me a picture. I wish you could see it, but there's those three veterans there. I'm first because you can tell I'm the tallest in the picture. We're all holding a flag, and she drew some little children by the wayside there, waving to the veterans. And she had this worksheet. Her first question on the sheet was, facts about Veterans Day, what this little first grader knows. Now remember, this was written to me. It says, Pawpaw served in the military, and the war ended on November 11th. Then the next question was, Veterans Day is important to me because we thank them for their service, the Pawpaws who died in the military, and for the Pawpaws that live today. You know, it's very encouraging when we see young people like this, starting out at a very early age. They know there is a military and the importance of November 11th, Veterans Day. She knew to be thankful for the sacrifice made by others. You know, veterans don't crave or seek attention, but it is appreciated even when it comes from these little ones, because we see growth coming, a future. Now, as the band played those branch songs, as I said, they're very touching to us. And it means a lot to each and every veteran here today, and those that are not. For my introduction, I just want to go over just a little bit. When I graduated in 1960 from high school, Joplin, Missouri, you could buy a gallon of gas for 16.9 cents a gallon. A postage stamp cost 4 cents. You could go to McDonald's, buy a hamburger for 15 cents, fries for 10 cents, and a Coke for 10 cents. But one of the most popular items they had on their menu at that time was what they call the date special. If you were fortunate to have a young lady with you, you could get 3 hamburgers, 2 fries, 2 Cokes for 88 cents. That included tax. Now that sounds like a cheap date, doesn't it? But back then, the minimum wage was $1 an hour. And if you worked at a fast food restaurant, which there were not as many as there is today, you maybe made 50 to 75 cents an hour. So that really wasn't a cheap date, but it was cheap as you could get by with. Now, when I entered the military, I was still yet 17 years old. Not knowing what was ahead, there was much anxiety. I wanted to go to college, but my pocketbook wouldn't allow it. I couldn't get a job at a regular factory because I was 17. You had to be 18. So I entered the military. I joined the Air Force. And in the 4 years that I served, it has turned out to be one of the better decisions I have made in my life. What I learned from working from different people and working with different assignments within the military had a direct influence on every job that I worked up until my retirement. And then after my retirement, it's still having an influence. Well, things have changed in the last 60 years since I graduated. But you know, we still have freedom today as we did in 1960. Several times during that time span, our freedom we enjoy has been put in jeopardy by others, and a call was made by our nation to see that it was protected. Thanks to our military and our veterans, we continue to have a freedom grounded upon the words of our Constitution, which so many countries envy. First of all, though, I want to thank the Carl Junction School District for the opportunity to be here today to partake in this assembly to honor our veterans. A big thank you also goes to the faculty and students who worked together to put forth this program in honor of Veterans Day. And I want to stop right here. And I think those veterans, our guests today, should give these students and faculty a hand. What you're seeing here today, because of hard work, teamwork, is a class act. I've been to several veterans programs. I've seen nothing better than this one. It is good to see so many people who are honoring our veterans. I was asked by my niece if I would do this today, and I readily accepted. I don't tell my nieces no very often, but I'm going to be a little quicker to think next time. Then I got to thinking, what did I just do? And I started to think of ways I could get out of this. These speeches are usually done by dignitaries, politicians, and I'm neither one. I'm just a normal person who has had the opportunity to live a good life, surrounded by the freedoms of this great nation. I just happen to be a veteran myself, and so very, very proud. Well, veterans help veterans, so I will do the best I can today to make known why veterans so rightly deserve the appreciation that sets Veterans Day as one of the most meaningful days of the year. Now, the history of Veterans Day dates to 1918. On the 11th hour, the 11th day, and 11th month, an armistice was signed or declared between the Allied nations and Germany in World War I. The following year, 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th to honor the soldiers who fought in that war, and it was called Armistice Day. Many of you don't remember that. It was called Armistice Day. But in 1938, it became a federal holiday, And in the aftermath of World War II and the Korean War, it became known as Veterans Day. Today, there are more than 1.3 million active duty servicemen and women in the U.S. military, with close to 1 million serving in reserve units, all serving with the purpose to protect and maintain our freedom we enjoy today. To all the veterans here today, and those that are not, we all want to sincerely thank you for your service and sacrifice. I share the pride you feel in being able to say you have served in the greatest military in the world. As we celebrate Veterans Day, it is sometimes for a few minutes or with speeches made at gatherings such as this, or sometimes with a moment of silence. And then our communities, our country, our schools, our lives just roll back to being normal. That is why when we have the opportunity to say thank you for the service to a veteran, we need to do that, to say thank you for that service. As the saying goes, freedom is not free, but a lot of times when we say thank you, the moment is soon forgotten. That people have given of themselves in unselfish ways so that we might have the opportunity to carry on our daily lives that we love and take for granted. One of the best thank yous for your service expressed verbally to a veteran, and it was to me, that I have heard, and this sticks with you. It came from a young lady and was accompanied by heartfelt words. Thank you for your service and for being a part of my life. Veterans do have a direct effect on our lives. Each and every one of us here today, veterans have an effect on your life. Each and every one of us, every day. The freedom we have and the thanks we can show to veterans can be shown by showing respect and pride in our nation. They have so selflessly given to us the freedom we have today. We have the privilege of free speech, making our own decisions and choices in life. This freedom was earned, not given, because so many brave men and women, veterans, fought for our independence. Veterans are a part of your life. Our debt to these heroes can never be repaid. But our gratitude and respect must last forever. You know, John F. Kennedy said, in respect to veterans, he says, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Our veterans leave future generations a responsibility. Young people, you all have a responsibility coming upon you. A responsibility to live up to and live by what we've been given and maintain it. When that responsibility was given, within it lies the obligation to see that freedom is carried on. We never know when that might be, but as history dictates, our freedom at different times will be put in harm's way and will have to be protected. The example we've been given to protect our nation, our nation's freedom, comes forth from our veterans. Some who did not see war, some who did see war, and some who did see war and not return. All served with the willingness to defend our nation and stepped up to do so with the purpose to give of themselves. As each day passes, we move farther away from the history of past wars. These heroes, our vets, will pass on. And time will continue as long as it is God's will. We honor these men and women by living well and living right within the guidelines of the freedom we have been given. Another president, Ronald Reagan, said in regards to the sacrifices of veterans, and he said this in poem form, "For too long a time, they stood in a chill wind as if on a winter night's watch. And in that night, their deeds spoke to us, but we knew them not. And their voices called to us, but we heard them not. Yet in this land that God has blessed, the dawn always follows the dark. And now morning has come. The night is over. We see these men and women and know them once again, and know how much we owe them, how much they have given us, and how much we can never fully repay. During the many wars that have taken place, our veterans, our soldiers, our troops, they have had to endure the harsh elements of Mother Nature, facing extreme cold and extreme heat and rugged terrains. Through those demanding times, we knew they were there, but didn't realize what they were going through. So we could continue to enjoy our everyday freedom. You know, we can all look forward to a new day and make plans for tomorrow. Everyone here has plans for tomorrow. That's a freedom. But we can look forward to tomorrow knowing that we live in a nation that has freedom. The freedom we love that was gained by the sacrifice and giving of so many, which also includes their families. They never gave up on us, and we can never give up on them. Giving back is something we can all do and should do. For you know, it's a freedom we've been given. It's something we can all do. That is why, as individuals, it is a privilege. When we have the opportunity, we can say we love you. We can say thank you for your service and for being a part of our lives. How grateful and thankful we should be to live in this great nation. Without veterans, America would not be America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. West. Please welcome our CJHS Dynamics under the direction of Mrs. Hope Rogers as they perform God Bless America. Thank you, Dynamics. As we prepare to close our assembly, we invite all of our guests to stay for our reception. It is sponsored and catered by Golden Corral. Additionally, Golden Corral will be hosting Military Appreciation tonight to honor our military heroes with a free thank you meal from 5 p.m. to close. Thank you, Chalky Billy and Golden Corral, for your support of Carl Junction schools and our veterans. Please welcome our high school principal, Dr. Teresa Wilson, for our closing remarks.
On behalf of Carl Junction High School, I'd like to thank all of the veterans and their families for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. West, for sharing your story and your wisdom with us. Thank you, Allie Rice, and all of Mr. Schultz's Service Learning and Business Management classes for your hard work organizing this incredible event. Thank you, Mrs. Davidson, Mrs. Mitchell, and our talented art students for the murals hanging on the bleachers to our left. And thank you to all of our corporate and community partners and all of the CJ classes for your time, talent, and generosity to make this event successful. I'm so glad we were able to come together today for this event, and I'm proud to work at a school where service is valued. I'm grateful that we've been given this time to remember those who sacrificed and served selflessly for a cause larger than themselves, and to honor those who continue to serve and place themselves in harm's way to protect our liberty. Those we honor as heroes today were ordinary people until they heard the call of duty and answered it, leaving their families and the comforts of home, not for fame or recognition, but for us and our way of life. With these heroes in mind, I challenge each student here today, each ordinary person, to consider how you can serve right now and right here in our community. How can you engage with the democracy others fought to protect? What cause can you support, and what positive change can you make? Not for fame or recognition, but to make life better here at home in Carl Junction, Missouri. One of the things I'm most proud of as principal of Carl Junction High School is our tradition of service. So many of our high school classes, clubs, and organizations serve our community regularly. And I encourage those of you who are not currently involved in a campus group to consider joining one, for our impact is truly multiplied when we work together. This concludes our Veterans Day Assembly. Mr. Schultz's classes are dismissed, followed by our honored guests. The Golden Corral reception will be in our multi-purpose facility through the doors behind me and to the left. Teachers, you may also return to your classrooms. We'll dismiss students shortly. Thank you all.